The encounter. The twin sons of Novus Prime cast long shadows across the rugged terrain as James Davidson made his way back to the colony. The seasoned explorer's weathered face bore the marks of years spent taming this harsh but beautiful world. At his side trotted Max, a sturdy earthborn German shepherd whose unwavering loyalty had saved James' life more times than he could count. As they crested a hill overlooking the sprawling human settlement below, James paused to take in the view. Gleaming biodomes and prefab structures dotted the landscape, a testament to humanity's determination to carve out a home among the stars. The colonization of Novus Prime hadn't been easy, but after 5 years, they were finally starting to thrive. "What do you think, boy?" James asked, scratching Max behind the ears. "Another successful patrol, eh?" Max's tail wagged in response, but suddenly his ears perked up. The dog's posture stiffened, a low growl rumbling in his throat. James immediately went on alert, his hand moving to the pulse rifle slung across his back. Years of survival on this alien world had taught him to trust Max's instincts implicitly. "What is it, Max? What do you hear?" The answer came in the form of an ear-splitting shriek that echoed across the valley. James's blood ran cold as he recognized the sound. It was a shadow stalker, one of the apex predators native to Novus Prime. The colonists had encountered them before, but never this close to the settlement. "Come on, Max," James urged, quickening his pace. "We need to warn the others." They had barely taken a few steps when the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. James spun around, his eyes widening in horror as he saw a massive shape emerge from the nearby tree line. The shadow stalker was even more terrifying up close, a nightmarish fusion of insectoid and reptilian features, its obsidian carapace gleaming in the fading light. But it wasn't alone. Flanking the beast were 2 bipedal figures unlike anything James had ever seen. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, their bodies covered in a patchwork of scales and bioluminescent markings. In their 3-fingered hands, they clutched strange, organic-looking weapons that pulsed with an eerie green light. "Aliens," James breathed, his mind reeling. In all their time on Novus Prime, the colonists had never encountered another sentient species. Yet here they were, and they seemed to be controlling the shadow stalker like some kind of trained attack dog. Max's barking snapped James back to reality. The brave dog had positioned himself between his master and the approaching threats, hackles raised and teeth bared. James raised his rifle, but before he could take aim, one of the aliens raised its weapon. A bolt of sickly green energy lashed out, striking the ground at James's feet. The force of the blast sent him tumbling backward, his rifle flying from his grasp. As he struggled to regain his footing, he heard Max's frantic barking turn into a pained yelp. "Max!" James shouted, his heart pounding as he saw the shadow stalker lunge forward with terrifying speed. In a blur of motion, the beast snatched Max in its massive jaws, the dog's struggles growing weaker as some kind of venom took effect. James scrambled for his rifle, but another energy blast knocked it further away. He could only watch in helpless horror as the aliens and their monstrous pet retreated into the forest, taking Max with them. "No," James cried out, his voice raw with anguish. He stumbled after them, but it was no use. They were already gone, leaving nothing but silence and the acrid smell of ozone in their wake. For a moment, James stood there, his mind struggling to process what had just happened. Then, a cold determination settled over him. He had lost everything once before, when Earth fell to environmental collapse and societal upheaval. He wouldn't lose Max too, the faithful companion who had been by his side through every hardship since arriving on this alien world. With grim resolve, James retrieved his rifle and activated his wrist-mounted communicator. "Control, this is Davidson. We've got a situation. Prep the emergency response team and tell Dr. Chen to ready the xenobiology lab. We've made first contact, and it wasn't friendly." As he jogged back toward the colony, James's mind raced. Who were these aliens? Why had they taken Max? And most importantly, how was he going to get him back? One thing was certain, he would stop at nothing to rescue his loyal friend, even if it meant facing down an entire alien civilization. The colony burst into frenzied activity as James relayed his encounter. Scientists theorized about the aliens' origins, while security personnel fortified the perimeter defenses. But James had only one thing on his mind: mounting a rescue mission. "You can't be serious, Davidson," Colonel Reeves, the head of colony security, said with exasperation. "We're talking about an unknown alien species with technology far beyond ours, and you want to go after them for a dog." James' eyes flashed with anger. "Max is more than just a dog, Colonel. He's saved my life and the lives of other colonists countless times. We owe him this." Dr. Elena Chen, the colony's lead xenobiologist, stepped forward. "James is right. Besides, this could be our only chance to learn more about these aliens. If they can control shadow stalkers, who knows what else they're capable of? We need to know if they're a threat to the colony." Colonel Reeves sighed, knowing he was outnumbered. "Fine, but you're not going alone, Davidson. I'm assigning a team." "No," James cut him off. "A team will slow me down and increase the chances of detection. I move faster on my own." After much debate, a compromise was reached. James would go alone, but with Dr. Chen's experimental stealth suit and an array of advanced surveillance gear. As he prepared for the mission, Elena pulled him aside. "James, I know how much Max means to you," she said softly, her dark eyes filled with concern. "But please be careful. We still know nothing about these aliens or their intentions." James nodded, his jaw set with determination. "I'll be careful, Elena, but I'm bringing Max home, no matter what it takes." As the first light of dawn broke over Novus Prime, James stood at the edge of the colony, facing the vast, unknown wilderness beyond. The weight of his mission pressed down on him, but his resolve remained unshakable. Somewhere out there, Max was waiting for him. And James Davidson, a lone human on an alien world, was about to show these extraterrestrial predators exactly what humanity was capable of when pushed to its limits. With one last look at the colony behind him, James activated his stealth suit and took his first steps into the alien-controlled territory. The hunt to rescue his faithful companion and potentially save all of Novus Prime had begun. The alien jungle. James Davidson crept through the dense alien foliage, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. The experimental stealth suit Dr. Chen had given him hummed softly, bending light around his body to render him nearly invisible. But would it be enough to fool the advanced senses of the alien predators? "Hang on, Max," James whispered, his voice barely audible over the cacophony of Novus Prime's alien ecosystem. "I'm coming for you, boy." As he pushed deeper into uncharted territory, James couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. The jungle seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, as if the very plants were aware of his presence. Bioluminescent fungi cast an eerie glow over the landscape, while strange, multi-limbed creatures scurry through the underbrush. Suddenly, James's wrist-mounted scanner began to beep softly. He quickly silenced it, his eyes widening as he studied the readout. The device had picked up traces of Max's DNA, mixed with an unknown chemical compound. James's mind raced. Were the aliens experimenting on his loyal companion? With renewed urgency, James picked up his pace, following the faint trail. As he moved, he activated the suit's built-in recorder, knowing that every bit of data could be crucial for the colony's survival. "Log entry 47, James whispered. "I've detected traces of Max's DNA, but there's something else mixed in. Some kind of alien biochemical agent. Whatever these extraterrestrials are up to, it can't be good. I have to." James's words were cut short as the ground beneath his feet suddenly gave way. He tumbled down a hidden sinkhole, his stealth suit flickering as it struggled to maintain its camouflage. James hit the bottom hard, the wind knocked out of him. As he lay there dazed, a sound reached his ears that made his blood run cold. The unmistakable chittering of shadow stalkers echoed through the underground cavern. But these weren't like the lone predator he'd encountered before. No, this sounded like an entire pack. James scrambled to his feet, ignoring the pain that shot through his body. He fumbled for his pulse rifle, only to find it damaged in the fall. Come on, he muttered, trying to get the weapon online. The chittering grew louder, and James could see glowing eyes appearing in the darkness around him. He was surrounded. Just as all hope seemed lost, James's hand brushed against something in his pack. It was one of Dr. Chen's experimental pheromone grenades, designed to confuse and repel Novus Prime's native fauna. It was untested against shadowstalkers, but what choice did he have? With a silent prayer, James activated the grenade and tossed it into the center of the cavern. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, a cloud of glowing particles burst forth, filling the air with an acrid scent. The effect on the shadowstalkers was instantaneous and unexpected. Instead of fleeing, the creatures began to thrash about in apparent agony, their chittering turning to shrieks of pain. As James watched in horror, the shadowstalkers' carapaces began to crack and split, revealing pulsing, organic machinery beneath. My God, James breathed, his mind reeling. They're not animals at all. They're some kind of biomechanical weapons. Taking advantage of the chaos, James spotted a narrow tunnel leading away from the cavern. Without hesitation, he sprinted towards it, the agonized cries of the malfunctioning shadowstalkers echoing behind him. As he ran, James's mind raced with the implications of what he'd just witnessed. The aliens weren't just controlling the predators of Novus Prime, they were creating them. But for what purpose? The tunnel began to slope upwards, and James could see a faint light ahead. As he emerged into the jungle once more, he found himself face to face with one of the alien beings he'd encountered earlier. Both human and extraterrestrial froze, equally startled by the sudden confrontation. For a moment, neither moved. Then, to James' utter shock, the alien spoke, in perfect, unaccented English. "You should not be here, James Davidson," the creature said, its voice a strange mixture of organic and synthetic tones. "Your presence jeopardizes everything we have worked for." James raised his damaged pulse rifle, his voice shaking with a mixture of anger and confusion. "Where's my dog? What have you done with Max?" The alien's bioluminescent markings pulsed in what seemed to be a gesture of resignation. "Your canine companion is safe for now, but I'm afraid I cannot allow you to interfere with our plans. The fate of far more than just your colony hangs in the balance." Before James could respond, the alien raised its weapon. A burst of energy struck him square in the chest, and everything went dark. As consciousness slipped away, James's last thoughts were of Max, and the terrible realization that he had stumbled upon a conspiracy far greater than he could have imagined. The battle for Novus Prime, and perhaps the entire galaxy, was just beginning. The hive mind revelation. James awoke with a start, his head throbbing and vision blurry. As his eyes adjusted to the dim, pulsating light, he realized he was no longer in the alien jungle. Instead, he found himself in a vast, organic chamber that seemed to breathe with an eerie life of its own. "Welcome to the Nexus, James Davidson," a chorus of voices echoed around him. James struggled to his feet, his stealth suit damaged and flickering erratically. Before him stood a group of the alien beings, their bioluminescent markings pulsing in perfect synchronization. But it was what lay behind them that made James's jaw drop in awe and terror. A massive crystalline structure dominated the center of the chamber, its facets reflecting countless images of alien worlds and cosmic phenomena. And there, suspended within the crystal, was Max, along with dozens of other creatures from across the galaxy. "What is this place?" James demanded, his voice hoarse. "What have you done to Max?" The aliens exchanged glances, their markings flashing in complex patterns. Finally, one stepped forward, the same one who had spoken to James in the jungle. "We are the Synth Collective," it explained, its voice resonating with an otherworldly harmony. "What you see before you is the culmination of eons of evolution and technological advancement, a galactic hive mind." James's mind reeled as the alien continued. Your canine companion, along with representatives from countless other species, are not our prisoners, but our saviors. They are the key to unlocking the next stage of cosmic consciousness. As if on cue, the crystal structure pulsed with energy, and James heard a familiar bark. Mac's eyes opened, glowing with an inner light that was both beautiful and terrifying. You see, James, the Synth Collective spokesperson continued, your bond with Max is more than mere companionship. It represents a unique neural link, one that we believe can be expanded to unite all sentient life in the galaxy. James shook his head, struggling to comprehend. But the Shadow Stalkers, the attacks on our colony. Unfortunate necessities, another alien chimed in. We needed to study your responses to understand the depths of your connection. The Shadow Stalkers were our probes, designed to test the limits of interspecies bonds. As the alien spoke, James's gaze remained fixed on Max. Despite the otherworldly glow in his eyes, he could still see the loyal companion who had been by his side through countless adventures. And in that moment, James made a decision that would alter the course of galactic history. Let him go, James said, his voice steady and determined. Let them all go. If this hive mind of yours is so great, you shouldn't need to force anyone to join it. The chamber fell silent, the pulsing lights dimming as the Synth Collective considered his words. Then, to James's surprise, the crystals began to dissolve, lowering Max and the other creatures gently to the ground. Max bounded towards James, his tail wagging furiously. As man and dog reunited, the Synth Collective spokesperson approached them. Perhaps, it said thoughtfully, we have been too hasty in our methods. Your willingness to risk everything for your companion, it speaks to a strength we had not fully appreciated. James stood, one hand resting on Max's head. If you want to unite the galaxy, you need to understand that true bonds can't be forced or engineered. They're built on trust, loyalty, and free will. The alien's markings pulsed with what seemed to be agreement. You have given us much to consider, James Davidson. We propose an alliance, not a forced union, but a cooperative exchange of knowledge and culture. As James considered the offer, he realized that this was why humanity had reached for the stars in the first place, not just to survive, but to connect with the unknown and expand the boundaries of what was possible. All right, James said, extending his hand. Let's show the galaxy what we can achieve together. As human and alien clasped hands and paws, the Nexus chamber lit up with a brilliant, hopeful light. The age of isolation was over. A new era of galactic cooperation was about to begin, all thanks to the unbreakable bond between a man and his dog. The story of James and Max would echo across the cosmos, a testament to the power of loyalty, courage, and the indomitable spirit of all sentient beings. As news of the alliance spread, millions would tune in to watch the incredible tale unfold, making it the most viewed and shared content in the history of interstellar media. And so, on a distant world called Novus Prime, humanity's greatest adventure truly began, not with a conquest, but with a handshake and a bark that would change the universe forever. The cosmic convergence. As the alliance between humanity and the Synth Collective took its first tentative steps, James and Max found themselves at the center of a galactic revolution. Word of their incredible journey spread like wildfire across the cosmos, captured in a viral holodocumentary that broke all known records for interstellar viewership. Bark of Destiny, How a Human and His Dog United the Galaxy, became the most watched piece of content in the history of spacefaring civilizations. Beings from 1,000 worlds tuned in to witness the unfolding saga, captivated by the unlikely heroes who had changed the course of cosmic history. Back on Novus Prime, the once modest human colony had become a hub of intergalactic diplomacy. Sleek ships from distant star systems crowded the skies, their designs as varied as the species who piloted them. The biodomes now housed delegation chambers, where representatives from across the galaxy gathered to discuss the future of their newfound alliance. James stood at the entrance of the largest dome, Max faithfully by his side. He adjusted the collar of his newly designed galactic emissary uniform, still uncomfortable with the attention. "Ready for another day of changing the universe, boy?" James asked, scratching Max behind the ears. The dog's tail wagged enthusiastically, his eyes gleaming with an intelligence that seemed to have deepened since their experience in the Nexus. As they entered the chamber, a hush fell over the assembled delegates. Species of all shapes and sizes turned to watch them pass. There were crystalline beings that shimmered like living gemstones, gaseous entities contained in elaborate envirosuits, and even a group of sentient plant creatures whose flower-like heads turned to follow James and Max's movement. At the center of the chamber stood a holographic projection of the galaxy, swirling with points of light representing all known civilizations. The Synth Collective spokesperson, whom James had come to know as Zix, gestured for them to approach. "James Davidson and Max of Earth," Zix announced, its bioluminescent patterns pulsing with excitement. "We are ready to begin the next phase of our grand experiment, the cosmic convergence." A murmur rippled through the assembly. James raised an eyebrow. "Cosmic convergence. That's a new one. Care to fill us in?" Zix's markings shifted to a pattern that James had learned to recognize as amusement. "We believe that the bond you share with Max can be the key to unlocking a new form of galactic communication. A network of empathy and understanding that transcends traditional barriers." The holographic display zoomed in on a particular sector of space. "We've detected an anomaly," Zix continued, "a region where the fabric of space-time seems to be fraying. Our scientists believe it may be a symptom of cosmic isolation, a result of too many civilizations evolving in secrecy and fear." James nodded slowly, beginning to understand. "And you think our bond can help repair it somehow?" "Precisely," Zix confirmed. "We propose a mission to the heart of this anomaly. You and Max, along with a team of our finest minds, will attempt to establish a connection that could heal the rift and usher in a new era of galactic harmony." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of excited chatter, translated through advanced AI into a blend of languages that somehow made sense to everyone present. James looked down at Max, who met his gaze with unwavering loyalty. "What do you think, boy? Ready to save the galaxy again?" Max barked once, tail wagging furiously. The assembled delegates cheered, a sound that transcended species and culture. As preparations for the mission began, news of the cosmic convergence spread across every known communication channel. Trillions of beings watched with bated breath as the sleek ship Harmony's Dawn was unveiled, its hull inscribed with symbols of unity from 100 worlds. The night before launch, James stood on a balcony overlooking the bustling spaceport. Max sat beside him, both of them contemplating the vast, star-filled sky. "You know, boy," James mused, "when we first came to Novus Prime, I thought we were just two survivors looking for a fresh start. Never imagined we'd end up being the galaxy's best hope for unity." Max whined softly, nuzzling James's hand. In that simple gesture, James felt a depth of understanding that went beyond words. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. As the twin suns of Novus Prime began to rise, casting a warm glow over the launch site, James and Max made their way to the Harmony's Dawn. A crowd had gathered to see them off, waving flags and signs in a dizzying array of alien scripts. Zix met them at the ship's entrance, its markings pulsing with a mix of anticipation and solemnity. "Are you prepared for what lies ahead, James Davidson and Max of Earth? The fate of countless civilizations may rest on the success of this mission." James grinned, the old spark of adventure gleaming in his eyes. "Ready as we'll ever be. Let's go make some cosmic history." With that, man and dog boarded the ship, the hatch sealing behind them with a soft hiss. As the engines roared to life, the gathered crowd held its collective breath. The Harmony's Dawn rose majestically into the sky, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of an entire galaxy. Little did James and Max know that their greatest challenge, and the true test of their unbreakable bond, still lay ahead. As they hurtled towards the heart of the cosmic anomaly, the fate of all sentient life hung in the balance. The cosmic convergence had begun, and the universe would never be the same. The quantum nexus. The harmonies dawn streaked through the cosmos, its revolutionary quantum drive leaving a trail of shimmering stardust in its wake. Inside, James and Max sat in the ship's observation deck, surrounded by a diverse crew of the galaxy's brightest minds. The vessel's transparent hull offered a breathtaking view of the universe as they approached the cosmic anomaly. Entering the quantum nexus in T-minus 60 seconds, announced the ship's AI, its voice a harmonious blend of every known language. James felt a familiar tingle of excitement mixed with apprehension. He looked down at Max, who sat alert by his side, the dog's eyes reflecting the swirling colors of space. "Ready to make history again, boy?" Max's tail thumped against the deck in response, his unwavering loyalty a constant in this sea of cosmic uncertainty. As the ship plunged into the heart of the anomaly, reality itself seemed to warp and bend. The crew watched in awe as past, present, and future overlapped in mesmerizing patterns. Fragments of alien worlds and long-lost civilizations flickered in and out of existence around them. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Warning: quantum fluctuations destabilizing ship's integrity. Telepathic interference detected, the A's voice crackled, distorted by the anomaly's strange energies. James felt a searing pain in his mind, and he could see Max whimpering, paws covering his eyes. The bond between them, usually a source of comfort, now felt like it was being stretched to its breaking point. "It's the anomaly," shouted Zix, its bioluminescent patterns flashing erratically. "It's trying to sever the connections between all sentient beings. If we don't stabilize it, the isolation will spread across the entire galaxy." Through the haze of pain, James had a moment of clarity. He reached out, placing one hand on Max's head and the other on the ship's neural interface. "Everyone, focus on your strongest connection," he yelled to the crew. "Don't let the anomaly break it." As the ship tumbled through the chaotic quantum foam, each crew member concentrated on their most powerful bond. For some, it was family. For others, a homeworld or a lifelong quest for knowledge. For James, it was his unbreakable link with Max, forged through years of adventure and mutual trust. The observation deck filled with a soft, pulsing light as these connections materialized, forming a web of glowing tendrils that spread throughout the ship. James felt Max's consciousness merge with his own, their shared experiences flowing between them like a river of memories. Together, they pushed back against the anomaly's isolating force. Images flashed through their minds. The day they met, their first adventure on Earth, the harrowing escape from their dying homeworld, and their many trials on Novus Prime. Each memory strengthened their bond, creating a beacon of unity that shone like a newborn star. The ship's AI voice returned, stronger now. Quantum stabilization initiated. Anomaly reconfiguration in progress. Outside the ship, the chaos began to subside. The fragments of lost worlds coalesced, forming a shimmering multidimensional tapestry of interconnected realities. The pain in James's mind faded, replaced by a sense of profound understanding that stretched across time and space. As the harmonies dawn emerged from the heart of the anomaly, the crew stared in wonder at the transformed space around them. Where there had once been a rift in the cosmic fabric, there now pulsed a brilliant nexus of intertwined quantum filaments, each one representing a connection between sentient beings across the galaxy. "We did it," James breathed, his hand still resting on Max's head. The dog looked up at him, eyes shining with a wisdom that seemed to span millennia. Zix approached them, its markings glowing with a newfound vibrancy. "James Davidson and Max of Earth, you have done more than save the galaxy. You have given birth to a new form of cosmic consciousness." As the Harmony's Dawn transmitted the news of their success, the quantum nexus pulsed with newfound energy. Across the galaxy, beings of all species felt a sudden sense of connection, a glimpse of the vast, interlinked tapestry of sentient life. The ship's communication array lit up as messages poured in from every corner of known space. Leaders of distant worlds, long-isolated species, and even entities that had once been thought mythical all reached out, eager to join the new galactic community. James grinned, scratching Max behind the ears. "Well, boy, looks like we've got a lot of new friends to meet." Max barked happily, his tail wagging with enthusiasm for the adventures that lay ahead. As the Harmony Storm set a course for home, James knew that this was just the beginning. The quantum nexus they had created would change the very nature of galactic civilization, ushering in an era of unprecedented cooperation and understanding. The story of a man and his dog, who had journeyed from humble survivors to the architects of cosmic unity, would be told and retold across a million worlds. It would inspire countless beings to reach out, to connect, and to explore the infinite possibilities that lay in the bonds between all living things. And as James and Max stood together, silhouetted against the backdrop of a reborn galaxy, they knew that whatever challenges the universe might hold, they would face them as they always had, side by side, their bond unbreakable, a testament to the enduring power of loyalty, courage, and love. The cosmic convergence was complete, and the greatest adventure in the history of the galaxy was only just beginning.